up? Tim Sykes here with lead trainer of Stocks and Trade, Tim Bohen. Good to see you, buddy.
Nice to see you again, man.
We're here in Miami after 2 days of Inner Circle meetups. Pretty awesome. Meeting up with a few dozen of our top upcoming students. If you want these meetups, what are we doing? Quarterly meetups?
Yes, quarterly. Yep,
right?
yep.
If you want to get in on these quarterly meetups, click the link below. This is something next level. I need coffee just to stay awake because I'm literally fading after 2 days. What did you learn from all these top students?
Like with the best part, we did 2 days. One was live trading, and then I actually liked the way we did this event was we had live trading on a Friday and then rolled over into Saturday. And it's always kind of cool because the thing with day trading, there's always something happening. And my favorite part was day two because day two, the market was closed. You could kind of calm down. It wasn't scans and people had day one, people have alerts going off. People are in trades and they're barely paying attention, stuff like that, which is valuable. I think it's really valuable. But my favorite by far was day two, where we kind of talked a lot more about mindset, mental roadblocks, dealing with the ego, dealing with discipline. So by far day two was my favorite.
Let me summarize that lesson. You got to learn from market action, which
yes,
we did,
100%.
But you need the rules when the market is closed. That's when you can really learn more. You're not distracted. I make the analogy, it's like athletes where you see them, in the Super Bowl, you see them in the World Series, you see them in the World Cup, and they hit these shots, and you're like, how do they do it? You don't see them practicing when there's no one in the stands, there's no cameras on. It's the off season.
And I think one of the, and many of you kind of might be there now, I think there's a pretty rapid acceleration of recognizing patterns, especially the way Tim has them laid out, his 7-step framework, all these different methodologies that it has. I think you can pretty quickly start to recognize these patterns, but it's one thing to actually execute on that, and it's one thing to actually follow that pattern and follow the stop loss. Tim's famous for saying, cut your losses quickly, but what does that mean? And can you do that? A lot of people trade the exact same stocks that Tim trades, and they end up with losers because they overstay, they don't take profits, and they don't recognize that it's a late stage pattern, etc. And a lot of that is all discipline, and a lot of that is the mental game. Because to me, and hopefully you agree, once you're in the trade, the analysis is over. You broke down the news, you broke down the pattern, all of these things. Now, what do you do? Yeah, now what do you do when it goes against you or even when it goes for you? So
that's lesson number 2. In the moment versus practice. You can have all the theory you want, and you can study every Saturday, every Sunday for the rest of your life, but you also need to apply what you're learning when the market is closed, when the market is open, right?
Yep, 100%.
Why don't people want to do this?
Well, it's just hard. At the end of the day, it's you think about anything. It's why is actually? It's kind of funny. We got a marathon going on outside right now, early here in Miami. And the crazy thing is, we're kind of watching it progress.
And we're at your childhood idols.
Yes, 100%.
Versace.
Yep, I've got
you might not know this, but Tim Bohen is a huge Gianni Versace fan.
You would be surprised, but this flannel is actually Versace.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, but back to the marathon, we kind of started watching it at the beginning, and we saw the whole thing go by. Nothing against people at the back, but a lot of these people, I actually commented to Tim and the video producer, there were some young, fit-looking guys, and they're bringing up the back, and really it's just work. The young fit, listen, if you have a disability, if you're older, you're 85 like I am, it's different. But it's just training. And the people that were at the front of the pack, especially in a marathon, all you gotta do is just run and work hard. And I think trading is a lot like that. That's why you say it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's easy to sprint. We can sprint across the park. You might be out of breath. But to run a full marathon, you have to train and you have to put in the work. And that's why people don't do it. It's just hard.
That's lesson number 3. All of these Inner Circle students and our millionaire students that we created, they're so dedicated to learning the process. Process over profits at first. And it's so hard to get this through to people because people are like, Tim, give me a hot stock pick. If you do well, then I'll study. And it's no, it doesn't work like that. I'm not trying to, prove myself to you. I'm trying to teach you rules. And if you learn those rules and apply those rules, you'll see how useful it is. You have it backwards, right?
Yep.
Like, this is the beauty of us being real in this industry full of scams. So there's so many scams out there where they're like, here's
easy, yeah.
how to make so much on day 1 or day 2. It doesn't matter what you make on day 1 or day 2 or any day if you don't have a process and rules to back it up. I always worry about people who get lucky. If they do make money, they ride some runner, right? They're going to lose it. There's a saying, a fool and his money are soon parted.
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
100%. You know, and unless you can start out a fool and get lucky, but that's all it is. I mean, actually, I still haven't watched Dumb Money yet. I'll probably do it on the flight tonight. But we were talking about that yesterday, and so the whole story of Dumb Money, in my opinion, I haven't watched it, but what I've heard is like all of these people that were up, thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't know, maybe millions of dollars, but they never learned anything about the stock market, and they gave it all back, and some of them ended up with losers at the end. So
yeah, that's lesson number 4. If you don't learn properly, you're going to lose whatever you make early on. Like, you got to build a foundation. And we're going to insert clips from these 2 days of Inner Circle. It's all about building a foundation. A lot of people were, starting with small accounts, and it's embarrassing. People are like, oh, I want to trade with a big account. But don't be embarrassed when you're just starting. We all start from somewhere. Not all of us have a lot of money. And I find that the best traders actually start smaller. They're more humble. They're more hardworking. We have some students where they're like, oh, we'll be your next millionaire students. We're starting with $500,000 already. And I'm like, no. Don't trade big. If you look at all the millionaire students that we've created, they start small,
accounts,
they trade small, they go through the process, they build a foundation. And you need that foundation. I mean, I'm not an architect, but I know, like, if you have a shaky foundation, whether your
doesn't matter what you put on top of it.
Whether your skyscraper is like 10 floors, 30 floors, 100 floors, the shaky foundation crushes it all. And that's why we do these in-person meetups, going over, live trades, rules. We had actually a pretty cool activity that Bohen helmed. Did you have like a captain's hat?
I did not. So
you should have gotten him a captain's hat.
I should have. I forgot to pack it. So yeah, that was actually one of the neat things. And that would be, bullet number 6, I think we're on, is like 5, sorry, finding a community. And that's what we've started doing with these Inner Circle events, is not only the live trading, then we did the mindset and breaking down, we talked about, roadblocks that people are dealing with. And that was kind of neat. This is something new. We did a fun activity where we took a boat out on, we're here in Miami, took a boat out and around, and just, it was really fun to have. I mean, we had about 25 people in the group. I was answering questions, but like you kind of see everybody kind of like breaking off, and everybody was talking trading. And that's exciting to see because you can learn from your peers. I mean, everybody's kind of in a different phase. Some are brand new, some have been around for years. I think we had that one guy he said he'd been trading 20 plus years and didn't find any success until he found Tim's strategies. Then I appreciated his honesty. He mentioned that he basically gave back all of the profits that he traded or that he made trading Tim's strategy on other strategies. And he's like, I'm done with that. I'm going back to Sykes stuff. So it was really neat and it was fun. And I think that, like,
the
I
food
think back.
was good too.
Yes, yep.
Delicious food.
And I think back to the very first Tim Sykes conference I went to in like 2008 or 9. Real tipping point for me. I mean, there are people that I met at that conference. I mean, I met Mark Crook there for the first time. And I don't even know if he'd started trading at that point. So it's just awesome to have a community, make friends, like-minded individuals. You can text or call them. I mean, I saw a lot of people that were building relationships at that. And that was the neat thing. Out on the boat, no Wi-Fi, no distractions, and yeah, so.
And I'll also say, this is lesson number 6. It's finding a community of like-minded individuals who take their goals seriously.
There we go, yeah.
There's a lot of communities out there. There's a lot of video game communities. There's a lot of drug communities. You can find anything. But like-minded individuals will really push you far. And this is the beautiful thing. If you click the link below and look at the challenge, or you look at Inner Circle, people put in money, so they have to take it seriously.
Yep.
And what we find is when there's money at stake, not just
skin
trading,
in the game, yep.
But you have skin in the game. When you pay this, everyone pays. We don't do like freebies, like, oh, I'm not sure. If you're not sure, don't join. Because everyone is on the same level when we're here, and we're so focused on helping each other. And, through a community of like-minded individuals, positive individuals who have, frankly, paid a lot of money,
yep.
but that really puts them on the right foot forward, and it gets everyone extra motivated. Because then it's like, the beautiful thing about trading, and we don't talk about this enough, like we always say, okay, start small, cut losses quickly, it's a process. This is all good, well and good for your foundation, but there's so much money later on. Like, I know we're not supposed to say it, 90% of traders lose, but like, there is so much opportunity,
yes,
but you need that solid foundation. Without that foundation, everything falls apart. And I know traders who don't invest in their education, no time, no money. They just want hot pick after hot pick, and it's a slippery slope, right?
Yep.
How do we correct that? How do we get people to understand this?
I think it's, you know, at the as crazy as it sounds, I think it's through videos like this. I mean, like that's a lot of people wonder, like,
just
yeah, exactly. Why does Tim do all these videos? Why do all these videos? It's like, you look at our videos versus like so much stuff out there. Excuse me.
Get some coffee.
Yeah. You know, it's really just being real and breaking down these issues that so many people face. I mean, we've seen it over the last years that it's just a lot of the same stuff. And pretty much everybody starts out with the same problems every time.
Look at this. You got your personal butler here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're just gonna be real with you, you know. Like we don't want to promise, like, oh, we can't guarantee you that you'll be the next millionaire. We just promise to be real with you, to share all our lessons. We've been trading since he was a young lad.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And now we've been teaching, and I think the cool thing, especially with the inner circle, what are we? Lesson number 8.
Yep.
Lesson number 8: experience pays. Like
Yep.
we've seen bull markets, we've seen bear markets. Almost everyone beginning. They weren't trading in 2019, 2020, 2021. They're new. Or they were using other strategies without like a framework.
And
it's so difficult when you don't have experience, when you don't have the proper perspective. It's so difficult because you just see it differently after several years. You know what patterns work best. You know what rules work best, and now for us teaching, I mean, we've been teaching for several years.
It was kind of funny. It would have been the week before this last week. Okay, Inner Circle was last week. The week before that, dreadfully slow, like just really, really, really slow in the low price, big mover stocks. And I was in the, Tim and I are in the chat rooms every day. And man, so many people were like just getting like angry. And I'm like, guys. And again, I've been doing it 18 years. Tim's been doing it going on 30. I'm like, it's just slow. 20, okay, I said going on 30.
Calm down.
I said going on 30. So just like you're going on 80. But, so many people were like angry. And I'm like, guys, just relax. I'm like, it's just slow. Now, I don't expect you to be happy about there being fewer opportunities. But I'm like, just chill out. It's okay. Relax, size down, trade less. And I'm like, it'll come back. And then sure enough, we come into this week and we had like 6 or 8 epic short squeezes. Literally yesterday, live when Tim was live trading, CRBP went from like $7 to $40, okay? I'm like, that's what I was talking about, but that's the experience. I mean, people that haven't been trading that long, they see 1 or 2 slow days and they're like, oh, it's all over. Like how many times in a year have you heard like, oh, it's over, penny stocks are done, day trading's over,
It's scary what a lack of perspective can do,
Yep.
okay? Lesson number 9 is like, if you're wrong, there's literally like no hope to like profit and hold on to you. Like, it's not like we're so good. It's just like, okay, we see the opportunities. We see the marathon, not a sprint. We have the proper perspective. So when there are opportunities, we can really capitalize. If you don't have the proper perspective,
Yep.
There's a million different ways to lose and lose big because you're, over trading. You want big trades. You size in too quickly. You zag when you should zig. You zig when you should zag. That's, I think, the best way to explain it. Like, there's so many different ways to be wrong and only a few ways to be right. Not that you're going to be right every time, but at least we can like zero in on the right trades, on the right setups. And that is where all of the success is, right? Like, so if you picture, we're in Gianni Versace's mansion here, Tim Bohen's childhood dream coming true. And, it's a giant mansion.
I can barely contain
I know,
it.
we can hear it in the microphone. Is it going to be okay? Are you going to hear put it in a heartbeat right now. I'm just having fun. I just think it's funny that we're here. This mansion is huge. The world is huge. The world of fashion is huge. Whatever analogy you want to use. But there's just such a small little window for success. And you really need to focus in on that. to have any chance. This is why legit 90 to 95% of traders lose. Like, what do you see people doing wrong?
I think the biggest thing by far, like when we talk about that massive failure rate, it is just, and this is, I've been mentoring now for 8 years, and I just think by far the biggest thing is just trying to compress the learning curve into just a ridiculously short period of time. Like there are people that are like, trying to learn everything in a week or a month, and I'm like, guys, we're here for you. We'll teach you every single day. We've got archived materials, but you simply can't do it in a week or a month. And like, I don't know why. Everybody just is obsessed with doing it with trading. Like I always use the analogy of like learning a language. Like I don't care how hard you study Spanish, you're not going to be fluent in a week or a month. Yeah. Like you can work your absolute ass off. It just takes time to internalize that and learn that. So I think that's why we see so many flame out. It's just like, I want it now. I don't want to spend a few months. I don't want to spend a few years to learn. Yeah. Man, I want it now. I want, the Lambo money today.
Yeah.
So
what do we do?
I think, again, get people to take advantage of these in-person events. Because I go back to, if it's lesson number 10.
Yes, lesson number 10.
To me, lesson number 10 from this in-person meetup, and I kind of knew this before, but it's all the same stuff. Like there was 25 people in that room, and we were talking about mindset and roadblocks and things that they were struggling with. We only got about a third of the way through the room, and everyone else in the room was nodding. Like I asked people to do homework and write down their 3 biggest roadblocks. It was literally all the same thing. We didn't even need to get across the room. So just recognize that stuff takes time, but if you're committed and you're diligent and you take advantage of 20 plus years of materials that he's put out, or 8 plus years of that materials that I put out, or put them together, and just have that realistic mindset that it will take time, just like that language. So.
And just history repeats, okay?
Yep,
like
100%.
We're teaching the same patterns. It might not be an exact science, but the same kinds of patterns, especially even sometimes the same stocks, the same industries. And it's just recognizing that and then trying to take your piece of the pie whenever the patterns show up, and having the discipline and know-how to not jump in when there's nothing truly great. You can try to trade every single day. You're going to be frustrated. If you trade random setups, you will get random results. You will lose. You'll be frustrated. You'll give up. You'll say, I suck at trading. Trading is so hard. Trading is not for me. Trading the wrong way is not for anybody, okay? It's no different than like if I give the keys of a Ferrari to like a 10-year-old and say, here you go.
It's going to end badly.
The Ferrari's amazing. And the kid doesn't know how to drive the Ferrari. The Ferrari's a beautiful machine. And the kid's going like 100 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone on a sharp turn, rolls over, crashes, burns, dies. Oh, Ferraris suck. No. The kid just doesn't know how to use it. No one taught him the rules. 10-year-olds shouldn't drive Ferraris, especially over the speed limit on a sharp turn.
They should always follow the speed limit. If 10-year-olds are driving Ferraris, they should follow the speed limit. I agree.
You need to know the rules of the game. And like, road signs on a road where it's like sharp turn, you see that because we've seen the sharp turns in the stock market. Literally sharp turns, up and down. And we know the warning signs, and we'll give you the warning signs so that you don't, speed into oncoming traffic. You like my visuals?
I do. I can see it. Like I'm looking at the street out there, and I'm like visualizing it right now.
I don't know if we could get a visual of a 10-year-old driving a Ferrari, but that's basically like the stock market, right? The Ferrari is a beautiful machine. The stock market is a beautiful machine. But when you don't have training, when you don't have know-how, you are basically like a 10-year-old, driving blind. And it's only going to end in a fiery crash, later on. So we don't want that. We want you to be safe. Enjoy your Ferrari. Trust me, I've driven, Ferraris. I've owned a Ferrari. It was a beautiful time. Now I travel too much. I don't need cars. But you choose whatever life you want. Highly recommend you join the Inner Circle because we have 2 of these in-person meetups, and they're like small meetups per year. We also do virtual meetups twice a year, and then we're also doing monthly webinars, all-day webinars with Q&A, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. If you click the link below, you can see what Inner Circle is, but it's basically just if you're truly dedicated to your education, which you should be, and frankly, you'll be rewarded. So Leave a comment. Let me know if you're going to be dedicated, or let me know if you're going to be a blind 10-year-old driving a Ferrari.
Well, he's blind now. I didn't realize he was blind. The story's evolving. Now he's blind.
A blind 10-year-old driving a Ferrari 100 miles. I'm sorry, it's not funny.